Yo, so what's going on, backers? My name is Pone, and controversial title is controversial. Troll title is troll title. I put that title up there not simply to talk about, PlayStation 4 is superior to Xbox 720, because that's not what I'm here. I did it to basically gain your attention, to bring you to this video, because there's something I want to say to you guys. Something I really want to say to you guys. And I mentioned this on Twitter, that I was going to make a video about why I prefer the PlayStation 4 over the Xbox 720. Now, you got to understand, you got to dissect that exact sentence, because everybody else gets butthurt. The butthurtedness is strong with this crowd. I'm not saying that the PlayStation 4 is better than the 720. What I'm saying is I prefer it for the same reason that you got defensive, or perhaps you did get offensive, or you were like, hell yeah, Pone, it is. You obviously have chosen a side, and there's going to be reasons for doing so. And the reason you're so emotionally attached to that, I have no damn clue. Do you guys understand? Take a moment, step back. If you were about to put a hate comment saying, wait till Xbox shows their stuff, it's going to shit on PlayStation, or PlayStation's going to shit on Xbox. If you were one of those guys, which I know you were, don't deny it. You're sitting there shaking your head. No, some of you guys are smirking like, I know, that was me. Sit back for a minute. You know all those times you made fun of or laughed at all those girls that were so obsessed with Twilight, and they'd defend it straight up? Jacob. Oh, I'm Team Jacob. I'm Team Xbox 720. Sound fucking familiar? That's what that is. You get emotionally attached to certain things because you have a history with them. There's something about them that wants you to, that urges you to defend them. Like, well, let's just take this back. Let's take this back to Pone was a little child, little noob some days. We'll go about, 20 years back or something. I was involved around video games because it was like all my father did when I was younger. I saw him play Mario days after days after days, and it taunted me and teased me because he told me I wasn't old enough to play. He'd sit there and I'd have to watch him day after day after day play a video game, and I was so, enticed. I was like, oh my god, I want Hasplix. It's like putting a Big Mac in front of a fat kid that's not eating in 24 hours. He wants that shit, He's like, oh my god. So I was captivated. I was like, oh my god, that's so amazing, so beautiful. Oh my god, that 8-bit. Oh god. And I was so obsessed with it, and things grew on, and as it progressed, I had this need, this thriving will to want to play video games, because it's one of the things that I saw my father do. And as a child, you always want approval. You need approval. You don't eat peanut butter sandwiches with the crust cut off. No, you eat approval. That is what children eat. I'm telling you right now. Children eat approval, much like women nowadays. But anyways, basically, I wanted to be good to my father. I wanted to be somebody he liked. I was so eager to be likable and wanting to do this stuff, and I felt that gateway was actually learning to play video games with him. So when I got to, I guess, a ripe, appropriate age, definitely not the words I want to use, but we'll go with it. My father started letting me play. This was about when the PlayStation came out. My first game ever owned was Twisted Metal 2. Yep, I'm pretty sure I popped my first boner there. That was definitely the day. And I was in love with that game. I played it for hours and hours and hours. Couldn't understand it, but the carnage and car destruction was an incredible game. I never ever played the first one until a year or two later. And I absolutely loved Twisted Metal. It opened my eyes up, even though I only played one fucking character the whole time. I was Axel, dude. Something about a black dude and just running people over. He was squishy, though. He would die quickly, but he was strong. In fact, he could run cars over, made me giggle. And, and before black dudes were using big rims and tires. Just saying, man. Axel was the first guy to be rolling out on them big-ass rims. So I really, really did like that game. It's what got me into stuff. And then other games were out there, and things I could start doing with my father. I got hooked on Crash Bandicoot. I would be able to run through that game like it was nothing. I loved that game. I used to watch my dad play Resident Evil. I used to have nightmares about that stuff. My dad would play Resident Evil all night long. I remember Nemesis hopping through the walls. I remember 2. 2 was my favorite. I can visually see the walkthrough and being in that alley. It's all fresh and still engraved in my mind, in my memory. I remember Doom. Doom was the first game to ever scare me. It was the first game to get me entertained. It was one of the original shooters I remember back in the day. And even then there was hostility. There were rivalries. There will always be rivalries in the world that we live in. You remember Duke Nukem versus Doom and all that kind of stuff. And there was always these kind of things. And it grew with me, and then I got a little bit older, and then multiplayer stuff started coming out. You had things like Test Drive and Need for Speed, and those were the first games that I ever shared with my father, the first games that we ever honestly played. And it was the one time in my entire life that I ever did something with my father. The only thing we ever shared, ever had in common, was video games. And how I became so good at them was Drive. Not like driving in the game, but Drive. He would repeatedly make fun of me. He'd call me a girl. He'd piss me off. He'd beat me. He'd call me names, which is definitely not what a father should be doing. But instead of me getting butthurt, which I did, I cried a few times. I was a pussy. I was a child. Get mad. Don't care. And he'd make fun of me, and he thought it was funny, you know? I'm like, and he really thought he was a badass because he was beating like an 8-year-old at a race car game. Who fucking cares, bro? So, you know, he had this drive, and it beat into me, and I took that, and I wanted to become better than him. That was like my only goal in life, was to beat the shit out of my dad at video games. So I played hours of video games, and I got used to it. I started on the PlayStation, guys. That is where I started. I played it, went over to PlayStation 2. First time I bought PlayStation 2, first game I had was Twisted Metal Black. Remember it? Didn't play it much, didn't like it much, but I had some sort of, I guess, relationship at that point, some history with this stuff. Didn't care about the 64. I played, you know, some Perfect Dark, some of this and that. Bond, you know, so I'm not saying I didn't play that, but still, even till there, even though I enjoyed the games on, you know, the Nintendo 64 and so on and so forth, I still preferred the PlayStation. Can't tell you why. But I think it's because I have this attachment to it, this, I guess, feelings behind it. You know, I remember a day where I used to have fun doing it. I remember learning and thriving to be better. I remember it was one of the only times in my entire life that I ever had any sort of communication or fun or laughs with my father. And that meant something to me growing up, you know. And not to mention, we're talking like muscle memory. I started with the PlayStation. Their controller has not changed too much over the year. It really, really not. It's just like, it's one of those things. Xbox came out and started putting some pressure on me. I'm not going to lie. I got PlayStation 3, though. First game I had was Resistance 3. Resistance 2. Resistance 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2. Because 3 just came out. Resistance 2. And it was a weird game. It was kind of funky. I'm not sure if it was my kind of game, but I got really good at it. And I realized, holy shit, hey, man, I'm pretty good. Because I played a little bit of Halo on Xbox. And I was like that neighborhood bully, right? You ever have those phases, you know, because I had that drive, I had that determination, I had to be better than everybody I knew at video games. And what I did is I was like the neighborhood beast at that game. Like, oh, you got a friend that can play Pwn. You know, he'd get smacked every day. And then I got online for the first time. Changed my life. Went on Xbox, played Halo 2 online. Thought I was such a badass. I got my pooper stuffed in pretty fucking hard. I was kind of shocked. I was like, damn. And then it started over. That need, that drive. I'm like, are these guys really that good? Just my neighborhood suck? I got to represent, you know what I mean? I got to make sure I'm doing this stuff. So then that drive started all over. I realized that I wasn't near as close to the top as I wanted to be. And somehow it transferred. That need for daddy's approval turned into the need to be one of the best gamers ever. Don't know why, can't explain it, but I felt like that was my purpose. I felt like that was the ladder for me to climb in my life. And I know it sounds so childish. It sounds so foolish. It was definitely a mindless thing to aim for. Now that I'm an adult, I'm like, wow, I wasted so much of my fucking youth playing video games. But I bet this has hit a lot of you guys. I bet you guys are like, wow, man, I used to go to school, come home at 3 o'clock, play video games, get a little bit of dinner in, go to bed, rinse, repeat, recycle. Same thing every day. Play 6 hours a night. Maybe get some homework done. Maybe just say fuck it and give up your education. It's kind of what I did. And, you know, a lot of kids deal with that nowadays, whether it's, you know, a bad home life or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is I was stuck with PlayStation because that's where my roots were. That's why I'm always going to be loyal to this. And they don't deserve my loyalty. They don't deserve anything special. There's no reason. There's no, you know, this or that. Why PlayStation's better. It's just where I started. Those are my roots, you know, and they mean something to me. And, you know, that in the history with the controller. I'm far better with the PlayStation controller than I am with an Xbox One. It feels right. It feels comfortable in my hand. And that's always going to be a preference it's going to come down to. And to be honest to you guys, that's kind of what happened. And you got the Halo, you got the shit talking, and everything progressed from there. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, when people talk about these consoles, just let you know right now, these next-gen consoles are going to be incredible. And the PlayStation 4 reveal was just as valuable to the Xbox players as it was to the PlayStation ones, because it was a look forward, a look to the future. Instead of us being together and being excited for us finally being able to have capable Battlefield 64-man servers on console, everybody rather fight which one they'd rather have. The fuck doesn't matter, guys. Are you going to be able to play the same goddamn game? That's right, yes you will. Yes you will. Then what's it matter? You know, there's no reason for people to get so hostile over what console they play. Did your daddy create it? No, there's no reason to be so defensive. There's not. You understand how far some of these people go to say Xbox is superior. You know, this is superior. We're better than you. And you know, it's one thing. You know, to be honest, and I'm gonna throw this in there. PC is superior. It's superior because if you can afford it, you can make a better system. But what it can't do is it can't give you a better experience. It can't. Honestly, people were playing consoles. For the majority of people were playing consoles before they were playing PC. I played PC when I was like, what, 10, 11 years old? Unreal was like the first shooter I ever played. Like multiplayer-wise. That was what, 99, 2000? That was some years ago, guys. So, to be honest, you know, when it comes down to console, it's always going to be preference. If somebody was like, hey, the Wii U's my favorite one, I'd probably giggle a little bit. I'm like, the fuck, why? And then he'll be like, oh, because I love Mario. And I'm like, makes sense. Yep. Understandable. Sounds good. And, you know, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, yeah, but the Wii U's not as good as the Xbox 720 or the PS3 or the PS4, excuse me. And it just makes me giggle a little bit because people choose sides, and I'm like, the fuck are you guys thinking? So a lot of people ask me, Paul, what are you going to do? Whose side are you going to choose? I go PlayStation 4. I'm going to go PlayStation 4. I don't even know if I'm going to pick up the Xbox 720, to be honest. I may not be able to afford it. Money on YouTube is tight nowadays for me. So if things don't turn around, it's not going to be in my price range. So, you know, I've already got my money towards Sony. I have a history with that, and I'm not going to change that. I mean, unless there's a leap forward that Xbox is so much better, which with rivalries and stuff like that, that just doesn't happen, then I'm always going to stick to PlayStation. PlayStation 9's down the lane. That's fine. My kids are going to be introduced to PlayStation. It's because that's what I'm used to. But again, you know, I just wanted to put that out there, guys, and I'm curious about what you guys think. Which console is your console? You know, there is no better, there is no bigger, there's no better players on either of them. You know, I don't know why people are so defensive. Oh god, you know, you're playing on PlayStation, you can't do that on Xbox. Bullshit. You know how many fucking Moabs and shit I put on Xbox? Tell me why kid, he's better on Xbox. I see that stuff all the time when I play on PlayStation. It's because people just have to poke and prod at you and act like they're special hot shit. That's what got me so determined into playing video games, is people fucking poking at me and my need to prove people wrong. And, you know, it's just crazy. That's why I made this commentary, is because you guys just need to get over it. I mean, you're not, like, attached to that game. You're not responsible for creating that game. I don't know why you have the need to defend or protect it. So I just thought it was quite funny. I thought you were all females about it. I thought you were all, like, fucking Twilight Justin Bieber fans because you're so destined to defend something that you have no actual involvement in. It just makes me giggle a little bit. Just a little bit. Cut for PS4. Hashtag cut for PS4. But anyways, you know, I want to thank you guys for watching. In the comments down below, let me know which one you're going for. PlayStation 4 or Team Xbox 720. Hashtag it if you want. I don't even care. But again, I hope you guys have a great day and you guys can relate to my story and understand. You know, I wanted to let you guys know why I prefer it. There are titles I like. I fell in love with Resistance. It was the first title I had on PS3, PS2, Twisted Metal. I mean, I have histories with these. And that's why I prefer it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not because PlayStation superior or anything like that. It's not because this and that. I do like the fact that you don't have to pay for Xbox Live. That is a big bonus to me. But again, there's little things. And, you know, even though most of my friends play on Xbox, I'm still going to be a PlayStation guy because that's just where I belong. So again, thanks, guys. Hope you have a great, wonderful, lovely day. I'm going to go jerk off or something and some shake and bake. But I hope you have a great day. And, yeah, peace out, guys. Drop a like on the video. It really helps out a lot. PlayStation's better.